beautiful. We are live and we are going to talk all about different cleanses, different detoxes. You're going to hear about my experiences with them so that you know kind of those personal stories so that you can move forward on your own. The thing that I am most hopeful for is that we have started at a good time and that very hopefully you guys will ask your questions because I'm on live so that you can pick my brain as a holistic nutritionist and so that you can learn, so that you can be inspired into your best feeling, most fabulous health. And I am going to give you some awesome pointers on when you might want to cleanse, when you definitely shouldn't cleanse, and all of that good stuff. So if you have seen a cleanse up or you've been interested in some type of a detox or something like that, then definitely let me know in the comments and I can at least give you, would I recommend it? Is it safe? What things do I like about it? What things do I not like about it? Who would I recommend it for? All of that good stuff so that you are really clear on all the different stuff out there, because especially this time of year when people are looking to either lose weight or change their bodies or improve their energy levels or any of that kind of stuff, it can be hard to really figure out what kind of cleanses to do or which ones are safe or which ones will actually make you feel good and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to take a quick second here, make sure that this video is working through my computer, and then I'm going to share this into my beautiful Facebook group called the Glow Doers. You are more than welcome to join that group if you would like. It is a free community where we talk all things health, and I am just going to make sure that we share it in there so that they can join too. And I just wanted to take a second and say thank you to, I actually didn't write down your name this time, so I do apologize for that. But thank you to who asked this question and the different people that tagged me in this question in a different group so that I could come live tonight and help you guys out. So I am just about to share this and then we will be all good to kick it off. Yay! Okay, post. We are shared. Okay, so I'm going to close down my computer so that I am completely focused on you. So make sure that you ask questions tonight. That is the best part of Facebook Live. It's also like where I'm my best. So ask your questions. Let's get this party started. So what kind of cleanses are there? What kind of cleanses have I done? That's where we're going to start unless you guys ask specific other questions first. I have done probably, it looks like 6 that I recall, which means in recent years, different kinds of cleanses or detoxes aimed at different things. Definitely ask questions. Hey guys, welcome. Thank you for popping in. Definitely ask questions if you have them about cleanses. I so want to hear from you and I will definitely be able to give you guys clarity and focus and whether or not it's a good idea and all of that kind of good stuff. So I'm going to go through the different kinds of cleanses that I have done first, just to give you an idea of kind of what's out there. Hi Jennifer, hi, it's so nice to have you on. So the first one that I want to talk about, and if you guys do have questions and it looks like I do not see them right away, don't worry. I'm going to kind of do each section and then come back to the questions, answer anything, and then jump back into the next section, just so that we keep some kind of logical order here tonight. So the first kind of cleanse that I have done that I do love, and it's like the most intense probably one that I had done in one element, but I'll give you kind of the pros and cons of each, was a full juice fast. So that was where I was cold pressing juices here myself, and that was all that I was eating or drinking for several days. So I think that the longest I ever went on just a pure juice, so organic fruits and vegetables in your juicer, and you're only drinking those kind of cups. I think I made it to day 5, like the morning of day 5 once, and was just like by that point so dizzy, really not feeling good. And it was mostly the dizziness. Like I remember walking from the bedroom into the bathroom, and by the time I got in the bathroom, I was like holding myself up with the sink and was like, I think I gotta call it quits on this. This is no longer safe. And at the time I was doing like a million different things. I was in school, I was working, I was training for a marathon. I might have been planning my sister's wedding at part of that. So it was just a total chaos, busy time. And I had done this juice fast. So that was my first true kind of cleanse or detox. The reason that it's so effective is that you are dosing your body, your blood, your liver, your skin, everything with so many different nutrients from fruits and vegetables that just get into your bloodstream so quickly. They're absorbed so fast. And anybody that's done this kind of a cleanse has probably had some kind of experience with like severe detox symptoms, from raging headaches in the first few days to actually tasting. The weirdest thing in this kind of a cleanse for me was that I could actually taste drugs like Advil in my mouth through most of this cleanse. And when I had spoken to friends who were also in nutrition school with me at the time, they had said, you know, they haven't read research on it, but it's very common for people to taste drugs that they had taken years previously that had just never had the time to be like fully filtered out, because what your liver cannot filter out at the time, it will store in fat cells. Obviously, when you're in a cleanse type of period, you're breaking down those fat cells. And so it does make sense that some of those things can be released, especially if you're super dosing your liver with the nutrients it might need to actually get rid of just anything from the blood. So that was kind of my first cleanse. That was the most intense for sure. Day 5, as I said, was super dizzy, and that is when I called it quits. But what I wanted to say here is that when you are doing a cleanse, the second most important thing to the cleanse, and we might even put it as more important, is actually how you ease into the cleanse and how you come out of the cleanse. So often after some kind of a heavy cleanse like that, people want to reach for like a hamburger and fries, or like whatever food that they were like most deprived from or most wanting during that time. And that can be so super hard on your body, especially if it hasn't been used to digesting food, and then you go for something really heavy. So you really want to opt for very easy to digest foods after that, which tends to focus you on a vegan diet, and preferably gluten-free during that time. Just kind of ease back into food, slowly digest it, and then get your body used to kind of like digesting food again and then moving forward. So that can be something that is really important. So that was a cleanse that I wouldn't necessarily recommend. I think I did it once more during school because we were learning and it was very inspiring, and I had never done a cleanse before. And to be totally honest, I do believe there's huge merit to certain people doing cleanses. So at the time prior to school, for my entire life, I had been eating pretty refined foods. I had been drinking Coke or Diet Coke pretty often. I didn't have the best diet. My makeup was all kind of drugstore brands, so lots of chemicals and hormone altering chemicals in those. Just a big mess. And so I think it's really helpful to do a cleanse at some point, because if you never have before and you're kind of going through your life, then you can build up a whole bunch of stuff in your body that it can be really helpful to get rid of. Okay, so Jennifer says Jennifer has a question. So would you ease into the juice cleansing by increasing juice first? That definitely can be an awesome way to do it, absolutely. So you can increase juice in the first few days. And I also want to talk, which maybe I'll just jump into now, and then we'll skip back to different kinds of cleanses just to see if they kind of spur any more questions from you guys. But that the body actually does cleanse on its own. So, I mean, you've obviously got your liver, you've got your kidneys. Those are amazing machines for cleansing and detoxing. So the reason that I believe so firmly in cleanses, and that this talk wasn't even going to be about do they work or do they not work, get over it. Your body cleanses. You can throw nutrients into it and get results that you want from it. End of story. So yes, it cleanses, and for some people, you wouldn't need to do a full cleanse. You could just add in different foods even, not even concentrated juices, but just different fruits and veggies, get them in, get your body glowing, and that would be enough for some people. So I'll jump into symptoms. If you guys want symptoms, either kind of heart this video or like it, I'll see those across the screen. So that's generally the fastest way to let me know rather than kind of typing. I can jump into symptoms in a second. My plan was to keep going through different kinds of cleanses. Yes, so I'm going to keep jumping through different kinds of cleanses, but you can ease into it with juicing. Then you can go into a full juice cleanse. Then you can come out of it with a diet that's heavy on juicing for the first kind of 3 days, and then kind of leaping back into more solid food. And I would say keeping meat out for at least, depending on the length of your cleanse, at least the first week. And even that for most people is going to be a big cleanse. So again, it's all where you are on the spectrum of how you've been eating before, what hygienic products you're using, where stuff is getting into your body. So whether you're living in a city, whether you're near, there's so many different factors, whether you're on drugs every day, whether you're all kinds of stuff. So I hope that helps you out. Let me know if it does. The next kind of cleanse I did was an elimination diet. And this one was super hard for me, and I still look back on it as being like a much harder thing to do than the juice fast. Even though like most days during the juice fast, I was just like picturing myself chewing food, because if you go a few days without actually chewing, you start to be like, oh my gosh, I really just want like something that I can like dig into. So as far as the elimination diet went, that I did find super hard, and that's because it was a much longer term thing than kind of a cleanse where I could be like, okay, I can make it through, we can do this, we're all good, that kind of stuff. So that one for me, I got an IgG test done, which basically shows like minor allergies or food sensitivities to different foods, and that I had gone into with the goal, which is why we're going to talk about goals at the end of this. I had gone into it with the goal of really wanting more energy. If you guys know anything about my story, I was so exhausted all the time, and I was 20 years old, and I was like, screw this. I absolutely refuse to feel this crappy now in my life, because I've heard from all of these different people that their 20s were like the highest energy time of their life. And I was like, I cannot handle it going down from here. So I had jumped onto the elimination diet under recommendation, and this was before I became a holistic nutritionist, and it made zero difference to my energy levels. The only thing I did find out was that I got horrible cramping in my stomach whenever I ate dairy. And that was made very clear because there was a slip up at some point through that elimination diet, and I hadn't had dairy in a month and a half or so at that point, which is a pretty short time for an elimination diet to work and be that drastic. And I had the worst cramping underneath my left rib, and it was not until that happened that I realized that for the last month and a half, I had actually not had that pain, but for every day prior to that month and a half without dairy, I had that pain, and because it was a constant chronic pain, I didn't even recognize that it was going on. So that was such a huge kind of blessing to have found that out. And at some days I totally took the pain and ate dairy. That was back in the days when I ate dairy at all. But some days I would take it and just like cramp up and be on the couch and then feel stupid for having done it. But I always loved cheese. I had such a connection to cheese, and I dove into it sometimes. So that was my kind of elimination diet cleanse, which I consider a cleanse because you're taking out all of the things that your immune system reacts to, especially if you've done some kind of a blood test where they let you know which foods are triggered for you, and then you take those out. That is a form of cleansing for your body, because then your immune system's not going nuts all the time. If your immune system is attacking different food particles that you're allergic to in your gut, then it means that your gut can heal so that absorption is better. So much good stuff there. So that absolutely for me counts as a cleanse, depending on the client that I see and kind of what they're going through. Sometimes we'll look at that. The other thing that I gained from that one, just so that you guys have the facts that you can go on, was that the elimination diet did make a big difference to my seasonal allergies. And to the point where I used to have seasonal allergies every single year in the spring. I'd have like at least 2 weeks. My whole family did from the time that I was tiny, where we'd all just be exhausted, eyes, sinuses. Like I remember trying to study for an exam one time. This was a long time ago when I was back in school, before nutrition school. And I was like trying to read this textbook, and I was so allergic, and I was just like, blah, like so much water coming out of my eyes, couldn't even see the textbook. So my allergies were that bad, and now as long as I follow my elimination diet guidelines, I can make it through allergy season completely unscathed. And if I cheat a little bit, then I've got the nutrient doses to throw in so that I can make it through very happily with clear eyes, clear sinuses, happiness for everybody. So that was that. I just also wanted to add that that was so hard for me because I had no idea what food to eat. I was gluten-free and vegan at that time, which we look back on now and laugh because most of the time we're gluten-free and all the time we're vegan here. And we know how to do it now, but I just wanted to say, like, if you're in the starting phases of that, and you need some support and guidance, let me know. Send me a message here. We can chat about a few simple options for working together so that you can get some guidance on what you can possibly eat, because I know how crazy restrictive those things felt, and it wasn't until I kind of made the change and found my way through it and stumbled my way through it that I found any kind of way that I could stick to it. So I'm just going to jump into the comments here. Jennifer says, thank you. That makes me feel more confident in trying a juice cleanse. Oh, I'm so happy. I should throw out with each one. The only people that I wouldn't recommend a juice fast to, and I'll kind of go into kind of guidelines for time frames, but always listen to your body. It's going to be your best guide. I don't recommend it for most people for more than 3 days. So that's like 3 days into the juice fast, where you're kind of increasing your juice, decreasing, your meat should be out, your dairy should be out by that point, your butter, that kind of stuff, that should all be eggs even, cut those out. Go vegan, go gluten-free, as much whole foods as you can. Start making the swap if you haven't already to organic, and then increase your juices, and then go 3 days if you can make it there, and if not, know that you've already cleansed on the way in for the juice fast, and then I would say another 3 days out. So if you're gonna kind of do it on whatever time frame you can give yourself, I would say try and give yourself at least a couple of days on each side of the actual kind of concrete fast time. And the last thing that I wanted to throw in for juice fast, just because they were really fun to try back in the day, they were the one that was like the most hardcore, and sometimes those things like just get me where I'm like, yes, let's do it, let's just like cleanse everything, like let's go for it, was that if you need some inspiration, though they are definitely not right for everybody, but if you do want inspiration to kind of go for something big like that, then the movie Fat, Sick and Nearly Dead is like Oh my gosh, like such a phenomenal movie. It's going to get you so inspired, get so excited. Like, it's just like such a good, I think I tear up and like cry at the end of every time. So definitely worthwhile watch if you're kind of looking to heal pretty much anything. But if you are on medications, make sure that you've checked with your primary care provider, your physician, your doctor, whatever it is. Make sure to check with them, because some medications, depending on if you're throwing a whole bunch of stuff into your liver, sometimes that can cleanse out the medication faster, and if your body's reliant on it, then you actually want an even stream. So it's not right for everybody. And also through pregnancy and lactation, it's not recommended to do a full juice cleanse, though you can start incorporating light juices into your day, and that will be fantastic. So definitely let me know. I'm seeing some more people jump on, so let me know if you guys have any questions about cleanses, detoxes. Let me know in the comments. I'm here for you. I am currently making my way through the different kinds of cleanses I have done, just to give you some information and to also widen your scope and view of what actually is a cleanse. I think sometimes we're kind of drawn into very specific ones, or maybe we've only heard of one kind, and I wanted to give you guys kind of like the pros and cons of doing each kind, and also when they might be useful. So the juice fast, I said, was really useful. If you've never done a cleanse before, it's really intense. It gets a whole bunch of crap out, I can promise you that. The elimination diet is really good if you suffer from any kind of allergies or suspected allergies. That was like the biggest thing that it did for me, though it at that point made no difference to my energy levels, which is why I ultimately was very frustrated with it, because that was my goal. So the third kind that I have done and that I still run on clients occasionally. Good night from Scotland, everyone. Thanks again. Oh my gosh, you are so welcome. I love hitting new countries, and I honestly had not, I didn't know you were from Scotland, so that is beautiful. Take care. Have a good night. The third kind of cleanse that I have done that I will often recommend to clients, not crazy often, but certainly there are definite people who benefit from this one. So if you are totally sugar addicted, if you cannot keep yourself from like chocolate or candy, or you're just like piling it in, or every time you go to the grocery store, you're like bread or alcohol or like candy, like the bars, and even if you can self-control yourself from it sometimes, if you are craving sugar, then a candida cleanse is like hands down such a helpful cleanse to do. So this one I will run with clients, and it's a total pain in the butt of a diet, because the first kind of week is absolutely the hardest. Super, super challenging. Not gonna lie, it sucks. But once you do that 1 week of effort, the rewards can be lifelong if you actually keep a few very simple practices that don't require any self-control in place after that. So for sugar addicted clients, what we'll usually do, and this totally counts as myself, I used to, like, it was like every time I got an allowance as a kid, I was like straight to, there was this little candy store called the Sugar Bowl, and it was like loaded in, like, and I was always like, if I got $5, it was like $5 of like 1 cent candies. So like just tons, so many, and loading them in, and that was the same all through kind of high school, from the time that I was like a little kid. So I was always kind of all over the place with sugar, and really, really craved it, loved it, all of that kind of stuff, and had like a super big problem where I could not put enough self-control into my body to force myself to stop. Like there was something in me that just was like, let's get sugar in. So this one I do have personal experience with, and what is the most fascinating thing, and this is what I always want to tell clients, especially people who are beating up on themselves for just having no willpower or no self-control or no ability to stop themselves, is that it is not you. It is your gut bacteria out of balance, craving because their life depends on sugar. The bad bacteria are fed by sugar, so that you are craving sugar all the time. And what is amazing is that coming from that person that I was, who caved for sugar all the time, I think I have a couple chocolate bars in the cupboard right now that I just bypass. Like, I just don't crave them. There's often dessert at different events, and some people think I'm being good. Sometimes the dessert's not vegan, so I won't eat it anyways, but some people think I'm being good, or like, oh, you're being super healthy, and it's just, no, I just honestly could give or take, and sometimes the savory food is so much more delicious that I'll just like have a second plate of that if I'm still hungry. So coming from like, it was a massive shift for me. So I wanted to give you guys the details on that one. That's where you basically give up sugar for at least 15 days. Usually with clients, I'll run a double kit, so that's 30 days. The first week is the most painful. It's gonna suck. Everything about it is going to be awful. I usually give clients a recipe for a lemonade they can make in 10 seconds that tastes sweet but does not have an artificial sweetener, which I don't ever recommend, and it also doesn't have a carb sweetener in it. And then I also give them a chocolate milk recipe, so that usually those two things can really help along the journey, so that it's not as painful. So that one, and then on top of that, you do like an herbal kit. It should be from a reputable company. You want to make sure there are certain really killing herbs in there, so that all of that gut bacteria is just drowned out of your body. And then the most important part about this cleanse, which is why I was telling you guys, like, you absolutely, the cleanse is one thing, but it's after the cleanse that is also super, super important. You want to load in good bacteria after. So you want to make sure you have a really high dose probiotic, that you keep out sugar for a little bit longer, which you shouldn't be craving like crazy by the end of the 30 days anyways, because you're used to not eating it and that bad bacteria has died off. And then you load in the good stuff, so that the pH in your intestines makes it impossible for another bad bacteria take over. So that was a really useful cleanse. Again, the kind of people that I would recommend do that kind of a cleanse or detox would be people who really can't control themselves around sugar, no matter how hard they try. So that is that one. If you are pregnant or nursing, none of these cleanses are things that I recommend, but always you can improve your health during those times. You can improve your energy level during those times, as long as you are doing it safely and effectively, but you don't necessarily need a cleanse to do that. So I have 2 more cleanses that I have done to cover for you guys, but make sure that you take advantage of this time. So if you are here and you have questions, let me know. I would love to answer them for you. I would love to kind of help you out and give you guidance on all the different cleanses out there, because I know there are a lot. So if you have had one kind of cleanse in your mind and you're like, oh, I feel like I'd like to know more about that, or that kind of stuff, then definitely let me know in the comments. So the next cleanse that I did, I have to really just say was the weirdest experience that I have had. And this one was a liver cleanse. So it was an herbal kit and also a diet that followed along with that, for the goal of cleansing out your liver. So this can be something that I would never, ever, ever initially recommend to somebody with gallbladder issues, who's experienced gallbladder attacks, who has any of the symptoms of having experienced gallbladder attacks. But once we dealt with dissolving some of the buildup in the gallbladder and kind of through diet and specific nutrients, then we could do a liver cleanse, and that would be something that I would recommend, but only if you are being watched and aided by somebody who really knows what they're doing. So the liver cleanse that I did, because I had no risk factors for gallbladder health at that point, The liver cleanse that I did, the main thing that I wanted to include, and the reason why it came up as an example cleanse, was because it was the first cleanse where I had an incredibly strong emotional reaction. Now, there was emotional reactions like during the juice fast, there's like, you remember how much you love like all of the foods that you can't eat. So that's kind of an emotional response. Or the elimination diet, you're also like all of the foods that I can't eat. But during the liver cleanse, and then I've had clients who have since run this, and I've always given the warning like, hey, heads up, this weird thing happened to me. I wanted to let you know in case it does happen to you too. And every single one that I have run a liver cleanse with has come back and been like, weirdest thing, didn't expect it, thought you were a little crazy when you told me about it, but so glad that you told me because I have been so angry lately. So in traditional Chinese medicine, the kind of meridian system, the liver is a place where you will store anger. And this was something that I, again, never looked into until it happened to me. But if you store too much anger there and you repress it, then you will, through their system, lead yourself down the path of depression. And so when you are liver cleansing, it can actually bring up a lot of anger. And for me, especially at the time, I had balanced out my blood sugar levels by this time. I was pretty peaceful and happy kind of food-wise. That's why when it hit me that I was super angry, I was like, what in the hell is happening? Because it was very different from my normal kind of demeanor or way of being. And certainly at that point in time, it was very surprising. So the liver cleanse I wanted to mention because just in case that happens to you, or you've been there, or you've been like, maybe this isn't working because I just feel pissed off all the time, it probably is working quite well, and that is one of the things that you can get into. So just be aware. The liver cleanse was, again, lots of fruits, lots of veggies, really focusing on liver helping nutrients. So you could look at kind of the nutrients in citrus, the nutrients in turmeric, the nutrients in broccoli sprouts or broccoli, any of the nutrients that will help the different pathways of elimination in the liver are super helpful. But again, this is something that if you are taking a drug, based on how the liver works, you could either speed up how the drug is leaving your system, or you could slow it down and kind of double up based on if the liver activates the other pathway to because you've put in that kind of nutrient. So this is generally not something I recommend doing if you have are taking any kind of medication. So that is a liver cleanse. And then lastly, and then we'll kind of get into not only a wrap up, but also kind of my ending thoughts on cleansing, whether it might be right for you, who it's not right for, and all of that kind of stuff. So my last kind of cleanse was a heavy metal cleanse. This was something that was, again, pretty helpful for me at the time. I really recommend this heavily to people who are mechanics or live near a mechanic, people who have exposure to soldering or welding on a regular basis, and then occasionally I'll recommend it based on certain people's symptoms. So if it looks like they have really high copper levels, or if it looks like they might have kind of lead exposure, or if they have a lot of mercury amalgam fillings and symptoms like depression, then I will look at kind of heavy metal cleansing, just that one element out of the system, which is always done with a mineral that looks like the heavy metal, so that the mineral binds in the cell receptors and the heavy metal passes by so that it won't act on the body. So that one, again, is pretty specific, and unless you were seeing someone natural, like a holistic nutritionist, you probably wouldn't know how to recommend that one to yourself, but it is something that sometimes people will see. Also, if you have a history of smoking and you're trying to quit, then certainly that can be part of what really helps you, although there are also tons of different nutrients that you can load into your body as a whole to really help your body out. So those are the, I guess we did five different kinds of cleanses. that I have personal experience with, just so that I could give you guys the ups, the downs, all of that kind of stuff. And then the last thing that I had kind of wanted to jump into is, do you need a cleanse, or do you just need a change? So this is something that I wanted to talk about because everything is dependent on your goals, which is why when I intake clients, the first thing that I ask them is, what are your goals? And whatever their goals are, I will focus my entire plan and my entire way of helping them, from the supplement plan to the food diary to the support that I'll give them, to the information in meetings, to the motivation that I'm giving them. I will aim it all around their goals, because if your goal, let's say you have fibromyalgia, let's say, but your biggest goal is actually gaining energy. Occasionally, that will come from helping the fibromyalgia naturally, let's say, but if your biggest goal is focusing on energy, then that's what you're going to want the most, which is why I'm going to kind of gear everything that way. And the same thing is true for cleanses. If your biggest goal is gaining energy, and you're going into a cleanse that is wrong for gaining energy, you're going to come out feeling totally unmotivated. You're going to think cleanses are stupid for the future. You're going to do your body a huge disservice, and you could have just done with a whole bunch of energizing foods instead of going through the whole feat and craziness of doing an actual cleanse. So do you need a cleanse, or do you need a change? That is something that I really wanted to kind of leave you guys with, because I'll go into a couple of different kind of scenarios. So if you need a cleanse, a few things that I would recommend, or a few ways that I would expect for you to be feeling, would just be kind of slow. If your makeup is not natural, if you are, using kind of aerosol hairsprays, and if you're eating pretty conventional food most times, if you're eating conventional dairy, conventional eggs, conventionally raised meat, absolutely, I think a cleanse is super, super important. But I also think what's massively important is switching the things that are constantly adding contaminants to your body, instead of actually trying to do like a 1 week cleanse, take out everything, and then go back to the same things that have caused these issues the whole time. So those would be times where a cleanse can be really helpful, as long as you are looking at it like it is the kind of reset button for a better life in the future. So with every cleanse that I did, I was very cautious that the cleanse in my mind was always the starting point. Like if you're playing a board game, that's step one, and all of the rest of the steps are going to make it so that you never friggin' have to do a cleanse again. Now there are people that might prefer eating garbage, feeling not so great, and then every kind of like 2 months doing a cleanse, but that's not a very helpful way of treating your body, or taking care of yourself, or nurturing your spirit, or any of that kind of important stuff. So do you need a cleanse, or do you need a change? If you need a change, what is amazing is that most of my clients I've never even run a cleanse with, and we've had results like gaining energy, like losing massive amounts of weight, like getting rid of thyroid issues, reversing hypothyroidism, getting your stress levels balanced out, everything. So I have those listed over at glownc.ca/testimonials, or you can just go to glownc.ca and click on testimonials in the menu. But what I wanted to kind of point out is that it's the food that you're eating all the time that's going to make a difference. So if your goal is weight loss, what I wanted to say tonight was that a cleanse is probably not going to be helpful for you, because while you can initially lose weight, what's probably going to happen on the other side of it, especially if you don't change anything else, is you're just going to gain it back and feel bad that you had done this super healthy thing and then you gained all this weight back. And it's just going to be like any fad diet, which is not helpful for you. when what you need is some kind of a change that is motivated, that feels good, that points you in the direction of the weight loss you've been looking for, that gives you recipes that you actually super enjoy eating, that kind of points you in the direction of inspired health and easy weight loss and all of that kind of good stuff. So always go by your goals. If your goal is energy, that can be done with or without a cleanse. If your goal is weight loss, that can be done with or without a cleanse. If your goal is healing something, sometimes that will actually, a cleanse can help with those issues. So it really, really depends. And don't give up if you try a cleanse and you don't reach your goal, because until I was a holistic nutritionist and could look at myself and be like, oh, this is why this is happening. Now I can throw these nutrients in to load my body so that it'll work in the way that I want it to actually raise my energy levels or lose weight or any of that kind of fun stuff. I had no idea, and I wouldn't expect you to either, because this is stuff we do not learn. So I wanted to give you guys that. I hope that helped you out. If you do have questions, I will be off Facebook for the rest of the night, but feel free to post any questions down here or join my group, the Glow Doers, for free, and jump in there and ask. Just post it in the wall there and tag me. I will see it. I will respond to you. I will give you the best possible answer that I can. I love you guys. We talked about juice fasting, an elimination diet. We talked about a candida cleanse, a liver cleanse, and a heavy metal cleanse. Those were the 5 big detoxes that I have personally done that I could give you feedback on. We talked about, yes, of course, the body cleanses. You wouldn't be alive if it didn't. And yes, of course, you can speed that up because you are in control of what you put into your body. So, we talked about the fact that the body cleanses, and then we talked about the differences you might feel if you need a cleanse versus if you needed a change. And if you are looking for either of those things or support in either of those, definitely send me a message here at Glow Nutritional Consulting. I will get back to you, and I will help to point you in the direction of what you are looking for, and I can definitely let you know about awesome options for working together so that you get to the health that you want and so that it happens easily and naturally and funly. So that is all for me tonight. I wish you guys such a great night. Thank you to who inspired this. I wish I remembered your name. Definitely shout out in the comments or put a hand up so that I can say like, yes, it was you, thank you, personally. And that is all. So thank you guys so much. You can join the Glow Doers group just for a few resources. You can get my free handout all about energy boosting superfoods on my site at glownc.ca. And otherwise, I wish you guys a fantastic night. It is Blues Monday on one hand, which I have heard about, and I might do a talk on Wednesday. So if you fall into the depression category, or you're having a rough time, or it sucks right now, let me know, and I will make sure that Wednesday's video is on that. And it is also, on a personal note, my birthday, so it is not a Blues Monday for me. But I love you guys. Have an awesome night. You're fantastic. Cleanse, help your body, feel fantastic, glow, and be the amazing person that you were born to be. When you have the energy, you say yes to all the things that you have always wanted to do, and that is the most spectacular, beautiful, fantastic, motivating, amazing thing in the world for me to be able to witness. So thank you so much. Take care. Bye.